if you have a restaurant, you need a website. And this might sound intimidating because maybe you don't know how to make a website or there's so many options out there. But I promise you, in this video, I'll show you everything you need to know step by step, every step along the way, to go from an absolute beginner to having a full-blown professional website for your restaurant by the end of this video. And while there are so many options out there, this one I'm going to show you guys is the easiest and the most affordable for your restaurant. Now, like I said, there's a lot of options out there, and something that a lot of people don't consider is that, especially now with all these lockdowns and all the chaos going on, your needs as a restaurant have probably changed a little bit. A lot of restaurants now want to have online ordering, want to have delivery, want to have order pickup. Maybe they even want to ship products by US mail. Maybe they want to do something like coffee subscriptions or wine box subscriptions, stuff like that, to make some extra money on the side and to keep your business alive. And in this video, I'm going to show you guys everything you need to know to do all of that. This is by far the best way to set up a restaurant website from my experience, assuming you want to do those things. And so we're going to get into this, and if you enjoy this video, guys, definitely remember to leave comments down below, subscribe, click the like button. So guys, with that being said, let's hop over to my desktop, and I'm going to show you how to make your own professional website using Square. All right, so here we are over on my desktop, and the first step is actually really easy. You just want to open up whatever browser you like to use. As long as you can access the internet, it doesn't matter what computer or browser you're using. And we want to go to the top and type in santrelmedia.com/square, not Squarespace, just Square. And this is going to redirect us to make sure we all start at the same place. Now, alternatively, you could go down, and I'll put the link in the top of the description. So you could go down there, copy that link, and paste it in a new tab. And that way, when you hit enter, we will all end up on the same page. And again, don't be alarmed if this picture is slightly different. It should look something like this on this landing page, and you should see a blue button right there that says start a free online store. Because one of the good things about Square is that you can actually start a free online store, and you can pay to upgrade if you'd like, but you know, the free tier is actually an excellent option for a lot of people. So now we're going to set up our free site. We're going to type in our name and just some credentials right here, and then it's going to ask for your business name. So we're going to say Santrel Restaurant right now, and we can add the EIN if we want. That's optional. We're not going to do that, and we don't really need to add the revenue either. So let's just say continue. And then it's going to bring us to this page and ask what type of business we're running. So I'm just going to type in restaurant. And of course, you want to be as specific as possible because this is really going to be how it decides what the best theme for your website is. So how your website looks will heavily depend on this right here. So, I mean, between all of these, I recommend typing in some different ones. And a basic word like restaurant will give you a couple options here. So we are going to say that we are a table service restaurant. Of course, there's two options. So I'm just going to choose this one right here and say continue. I think that's going to be the most descriptive of what I'm trying to do here. And then now it's going to ask for an address. So we're just going to say 123 Broad Street. We're going to say, sure, this is my home address as well. And we're going to say continue. And so this is obviously going to be for people that are looking for your restaurant. It's going to be used throughout your website as well. And then it's going to ask you what you want to sell on your website. So because we're selling online, it's going to have a couple options. So we can have physical items. So maybe if you want to sell merchandise for your restaurant, you can do that. Maybe you want to have donations or gifts, stuff like that. Memberships doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for restaurants unless you're doing, maybe it's like a coffee subscription or like a wine box that people get every month. You know, that's an option as well. Services, tickets, maybe you have like a little concert venue in the back. You have tickets for that. And then menu items, of course, that could be ordered online for pickup or, you know, whatever you're trying to do. And I think that's really the focus of this video. A lot of you are looking to order or have food ordered online so that either they can come pick it up, you could deliver, or they could maybe use like Grubhub or something. So we're going to say continue just with those four. And it doesn't really matter what you're doing with this. It's really, again, just going to help construct your website in the best way possible. So when you are trying to fulfill orders, you could say that, you know, these are three really common ones. You could either ship it to the buyer, you could allow delivery or pickup. And keep in mind, shipping is going to most likely mean like UPS or USPS or FedEx, or, you know what I mean? Like somebody bringing it there that is not working for you directly. Now, I'm just going to leave these three on right now for the options that we chose. And then it's going to ask what we want. And depending on what you chose, this layout might look slightly different. But overall, you should see an option that says full website plus ordering page. And that is exactly what we want with this website. So let's say continue. And this will allow us to have multiple pages on the website. So maybe a menu page, an about us page, or like, to tell a story of your website. And of course, you can have the ordering page as well. So you can have a lot of stuff going on. And something to notice right now, see how that says Weebly on the top? Depending on when you're doing this, see now it's switched to Square Online. Depending on when you're making your website, that may or may not be there. Don't be alarmed if it changes. Square and Weebly kind of like merged or bought each other out recently. And so you might be seeing some Weebly stuff here and there, but just understand that that's not a bad thing. It just means that they're still working on organizing the domains behind the scenes. So then it'll bring you to your dashboard, and this is where everything really happens. And so from the overview tab, and I'll go through all these in a second, you'll see that it gives you some basic insights on your website, how many page views, how many sales you made, stuff like that right here. Of course, more insights will be over in the Insights tab. And as you go down, they give you a guide with some stuff that it walks you through. We're going to do that all in this video. But of course, just a little checklist is nice to have. And then down here, a couple other tips and FAQs that you might have as well. So I want to go through these in depth in a second, but just quickly touching on the top bar, just so you guys know, if we click on the little hamburger icon and click on home, it'll bring you a level higher to more of Squarespace offerings. So they have a lot more services than just the website. And so you have access to managing like transactions and point of sale stuff. And there's like a lot of stuff you can do here, as well as managing a team. But if you want to go through that, I'm not going to touch on that in this video. But if you ever end up on this page, just click on online, the little blue icon there, and then it'll bring you right back to the dashboard where we are going to be spending our time in this video. Now, going across the top, there's support right there if you have any kind of problems with your website. And of course, we can upgrade as well. Now, I did mention that you can do this for free, which is true. You can sell stuff for free on Square Online, but I generally recommend everybody out there, especially in this video, assuming you have a restaurant or some type of food business, it's a lot more professional to have one of these paid plans, because the first thing you get right here is actually the ability to publish to a custom domain. So that is very important. Nobody wants to go to like square.com/Santrel restaurant. It's just a little tacky. It's good for maybe a high school project, but if you're trying to run a business, $12 a month is a pretty reasonable price, honestly. I've seen a lot of other ones out there that for something like this charge significantly more. I also like how stratified this is. So instead of like a lot of them are like $12, $14, $16, and like it's hard to choose, this is pretty obvious. I think everyone should know from these, just reading down here, they'll know exactly which one they're going to get. And so for most restaurants that are smaller, I think the professional plan is a good starting point. Now, in this video, I'm just going to select this one, and we're going to follow through with this. And so another thing to note is the monthly plan is a little bit more expensive than if you pay by the year. So paying by the year also makes sense. Okay, so once we've upgraded and we're back on the dashboard, let's go down the left side and talk about what we have here. So the first thing is actually website. If we click down, you'll see that we have the overview for the website here. And this is going to bring us into a website overview, kind of an editor right here. And the first thing you get to do actually, so this is convenient. This setting I think is really useful to customize it before you have to go down and do everything at the micro level. So right here, you can go down on the left side and select what you want and what you don't want. So maybe we don't want to sell food items to ship. I mean, that would make sense if you're, maybe you do that if you're selling like dry rice or something, but obviously most restaurants are probably not shipping their food. They're probably either having pickup or delivery. And maybe you want the top menu items on the top of the page. Sure, we want that. Maybe we don't want memberships and subscriptions. Changed our mind on that. We definitely don't want that. And maybe we don't really want email addresses. Maybe we do. If you do, it just shows you right there. That's how you're setting that up. Maybe we do want our Instagram feed. I think social media is a pretty good thing for restaurants these days. And maybe down here, you want to show your location and your hours. So really what this is doing is it's giving you an option to control the layout of your website here. So as we select each individual thing, they represent a banner that's going across here. So featured menu items, as you see right there, we can remove that or we can add that. Top retail items, maybe we don't actually have any retail items that are worth showing. And we can rearrange where these things are in a second. But for now, just, you want to select them and choose what is actually going to be there. And when we go to the top, you can actually toggle between the different pages. But we're going to go first, we're going to say next. And it's going to ask for our logo. And our logo is going to have to be relatively small. So I have a couple right here. Let's go down and say that, unfortunately, I think this is the only logo I have from a previous video. We're just going to use that one for now, though. Not the best look being so small, but we're just going to leave it as that for now. And we're just going to say next, right? So that's going to help set up our header right there. And then we have our style. If we want modern, classic, elegant, it's really going to be the font is what we're looking at here. And so I think for a restaurant like this, I'm just going to say elegant is a pretty good one. Let's go with gray for color. Now we're going to say finish. And then once you say finish, it'll ask you to set up a domain. And so you can set up the domain. I'm not actually going to do that right now because, again, once you're upgraded, you can either attach your own domain or you can buy one through Square Online. So you can say I own a domain, or we could just use a Square subdomain. That's what I'm doing right now. Again, looks tacky. Once you upgrade, you definitely don't have to do this. But for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm just going to stick with this for now. So we're just going to say that. We're going to click on X. Hey guys, just a quick aside here. I know the restaurant industry can be really competitive, so it's definitely important that you're ranking high on Google. So you can't just make your website. You want to make your website and also have it rank high on Google. So when somebody searches restaurant in Philadelphia or whatever city you're in, whatever town you're in, yours pops up first and gets the most traffic. So you get more customers that way and you have a more happy, thriving business. And now the best way to do that is actually with a two-prong approach. The first one is search engine optimization. And I've been talking about that throughout the video to make sure that your website is optimized for Google to find it as easily as possible. And the second thing is actually to make sure that you have the right keywords that people are actually looking for. And the tool that I use for that is called SEMrush. I'll put a link down below. It's an excellent tool to not only give you an audit of your website to let you know how the website's doing, where SEO problems might exist, but also you can use it for keyword research to find out what your competitors are doing, what pages on their website are ranking, what keywords are ranking, and what people are actually searching for to make sure that you're ranking up there higher and actually getting the business that maybe your competitors in the area are taking from you from search. So with that being said, I'll actually have a full tutorial on how to use SEMrush in the next couple weeks. So go on down, click the subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss that. And then head on over to SEMrush and get started. I'll put a link down below again in the description. So go down there. It'll be probably the second or third link. It'll be SEMrush. You'll see that. Check that out. I highly recommend it if you want your website to actually rank higher in Google. All right, so that'll bring us to the main editor. And if for some reason you were not able to access that quick little setup that I just showed you right there, you can actually do all of that just from here anyway. So I'll show you how to do everything we just did. First of all, if you want to move things up and down, let's talk about that. So each of these banners, as you can see, is highlighted in blue when I hover over it, and the corresponding one on the left highlights it in gray. So you can see that they are highlighted like that. Now, if we want to move them up or down, so maybe if we want location and hours to be above Instagram, you just hover over this until you see the little hamburger icon and then drag it up, click and drag up, or you can click and drag it down, and that'll relocate it anywhere you want. Now, if we decide that there's something that we just don't like, then you can actually just right click on that, or not right click, you can just, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. So if we want to get rid of this Instagram feed, we can click on the three dots and go down and say duplicate if we want to have a second one, or what I was going to show you is actually to delete that, just click on delete. And so that's how you'll be rearranging this and customizing what it looks like. But if you want to add another section, there are actually quite a few more options here than there were in the previous page. So if we go to add section, we can go up and down and you'll see we have a lot of different options here. So we have featured items. These are kind of little layouts that Squarespace makes for you. So if you want something like a featured items page, it's not going to be something that you can really customize. You choose in a previous page or a previous setting what the featured items are, and it'll just dynamically update this whenever you change that setting. So the things that have a little green box right there are really kind of controlled by Square, which is cool. But at the same time, you have to keep in mind that it's a little bit less customizable with how it looks directly on your page here. So instead, maybe I would want to add a general thing. So maybe like a text and an image. This would be a great way to showcase like your chef or someone who's like really good within your restaurant, something good about your restaurant that you really want to accent. It could be your favorite dish. It could be your story, and the button could link to the story of how your restaurant came to be. There's a lot of really cool stuff, a lot of really cool things you can do with the text and an image. I think a lot of websites are built with mostly text and image. Of course, you can go down and have some galleries. You can embed code if you have some cool third-party stuff you want to add in here. And then, of course, you also have the little interactive things down here, like email subscriptions and collecting forms and location and hours, which would have a map that's interactive as well. But for now, we're just going to add text and image. I want to show you how this works first. So we are going to click Add, and that will be added down here. And again, before I move it up and down, it's going to ask a little bit more about how we want this to look. So as you see, there are quite a few layouts for text and image. We can have the text on the left or the right. We can have multiple images with text below, as you see right here. We could have even more than that. We can have titles. We can have the text in the image if you wanted that. but I'm just going to leave it like, actually, I think this right here looks the best, or maybe we'll flip it if we want to. And then we're going to choose, we're just going to say done, and that'll bring us right here. Now, I don't want this on the bottom. I want this to be higher, probably above the Instagram feed even. And up here is where we can put our chef or something, right? So for this one, we want to edit this. So just click on it and it'll bring us into the editor. So once you click on any one of these, when you click on the blue, it'll just bring you into the editor for that section. And that's how you can change everything in there, really. So for this, when you click on the section, you can choose how the section is laid out, or you can click on the actual content in the section right here and customize that. So if I want to click on the picture, I can change the picture right here. We're going to add an image. And so let's upload an image right now. Now, of the images, I think I had one that I found was a chef, maybe this guy right here. And we're going to add that. We're going to say save. Hopefully that has a decent aspect ratio. Yeah, it looks all right. And we're going to say right here, sure, quality craftsmanship. One of them. Sure. So then you want to add maybe like a quick little paragraph right there about whatever it is. And I'm going to make that slightly longer. I think it'd look better if it was, yeah, about that long. And then we have a button here, and we can click on the button. And you can also go through this as well on the left side. So when you click within the content, you have your title, which is right there. And you can change the font size. You can change the color of it. And then you have your call out below that. And of course, you can make this one bigger, that one bigger, whatever you want to do. And let's actually change the font size here to title 2. Maybe title 1, slightly larger. There we go. And then below that, we have our text, which again, you can change the font and everything you want with that. And we have the button, and the button, obviously you have to add a link right here. And so for this link, we can link this to either a page or an item, or you can order online. Let's just do that. Order online is where it's going to link to. And so the other options, of course, would be a phone or email or even a file if you wanted them to download like a PDF or a picture or something like that. And we can say save, and then suddenly that will be linking there. Now, the button itself, we can actually change how that looks as well. And this is going to be based on your color palette, which in a second I will go back and customize that. But first of all, you have your main, your accent, and some neutral right there. So accent, let's make this an accented button there. And we are going to leave it as a filled, or you can have an outline of a button. I think filled fits in better here. And let's leave it as a large button as well. And for the image, there's not a whole lot we can do here other than maybe add a link. And of course, you probably also want to add some alt text here as for SEO. Now, SEO stands for search engine optimization. So really, you just want to tell Google what the picture is. So you could say chef making food. Something very simple, just so it has an idea of what that is. If somebody looks it up, at least they'll know what that picture is. So then we can either crop it, we can change the size, but I'm going to leave it just like that. And that is how this section looks right here. Now, going up, let's go through each of these sections and talk about how to actually customize them. Main banner is going to be another one of those dynamic ones that Squarespace kind of operates. So it's a little bit less customizable here, but you still have some options. So the banner image is something we can add. So let's add another image for the background here. And of these pictures, let's say maybe this one is a good one. Yeah, let's go with this one. Let's see how this looks. I'm not sure if that's going to look good as its background, but let's just find out. Okay, honestly, that doesn't look that bad. Now, our logo obviously looks terrible, but keep in mind, it is just a logo from a different video. Now, from here, we can also customize some other things. We can make this more or less transparent or dark. So I'm going to make this a little bit, brighter, maybe medium right there. And then we can go down to the banner headline. And again, let's change this one to Santrel. And then we can select that, and let's just make that the biggest font we possibly can. Not quite, actually. Maybe second, headline 2, maybe headline 3. Okay, so let's just say Santrel Steakhouse, and we're going to leave it as that. And so, of course, you could change the font as well. I think that's works, and no, it looks better with this one. And then we can go down and customize the button yet again. And this button being a black background here, we can make this one more of a white or light accent there. And we could say order now is what we want to write there. Of course, you can customize that by clicking and changing whatever you want it to say. And it's automatically linked to ordering online because it knows that you're making a restaurant website. So Square definitely does a great job of making it like pretty much as ready for you as possible. Even the buttons are linking to the right page when you're just getting started here. And we can go down to customize the layout as well if you want to change the way the main banner looks. So I think it looks really good like this, but if you want to put it in the middle, depending on what the image is in the background, you might want it like this. Now, we can also go up here. Let's change the section style to be slightly larger so that the image looks a little better there. And let's see if we can move this image down a little bit. So let's edit this image and see if we can move it down just a little bit to there. And we're going to save that. There we go. So now we can at least read that slightly better. Again, not the best, but it gives you a pretty good image on the top for at least for a restaurant, right? Now, as we go down, the next section is going to be your featured menu items. And you have to create a menu item first of all, but we're going to do that in a second. As far as the overall appearance of this, we can have our section title on or off. I recommend leaving that on. And of course, you can customize that by clicking on it. And so let's just say featured menu items. Yeah, that's a good one. Try one of our signature selections. Yeah, actually, that looks pretty good as well. And then below that, we have our images, which are going to be for the menu items, which we will actually create menu items. And then you can also go down to customize and change the overall style of this. So if you want this to be a different color, we can have this as default color. It looks fine, I guess. Doesn't really make it that different, but you can make it 1 or 2 columns for a different layout there. 2 columns. I think this looks pretty good, pretty simple, pretty subtle, and it gets people attracted to what you're selling at your restaurant. So now let's go up and create menu items. And this is kind of taking us over to another page here. Now, what we have in this pop-up is actually just a very simple layout to create our menu items. So the first one, let's just say, is a steak. And the item price is going to be pretty steep. And let's just add some dummy text there. Ignore what that says. I just copied some text from before. And then we can go and add an image as well. And the image, I think, let's say, is that a steak right there? It's hard to tell. These pictures are really tiny. So I think that's a steak. And then we can also say in-store pickup. Now we're going to say that is going to be dine-in, I guess. You know what? Whatever. In-store pickup works as well. So let's do either one of those, and we're going to save. Now, of course, steakhouse is probably not the best example for stuff like this, but let's go and keep adding featured menu items here. So this actually shows us a slightly different page this time. Let's go and add another menu item, and let's just say that this one is going to be, let's add the image first. What was the other image I had? This one is going to be some kind of roast, and this one's going to be $25, and let's just paste some more thing right there, some more stuff, and we are going to say save. And that's going to be our second one. Let's add another menu item. And this one's going to be a cheesesteak, obviously Philly cheesesteak. And this one's going to be the classic $9 price. And for this one, I think I had a picture down here for that. Sure. And then once you have all 4 of them, or however many you want, you can just go up there and say save, and they will all show up right here. So, I mean, you can see already that was like 0 effort right there, and it already looks really good. You can customize how these pictures look in there as well. But honestly, I think that's a really good start for a restaurant website with again, 0 effort so far. And of course, the other thing to note is anytime you see like a list of items that have 3 hamburger, like the little hamburger icon next to them, you can click and drag them up and down to rearrange however you want here. So if we want maybe this one to be first, and we want the fillet to be second, maybe we don't like these 2 pictures so close to each other. So let's move this guy up to second and this one down to last. Maybe that looks better. And so that's just how you can do stuff like that. Now, that is the second section going down. We already edited this section. Let's go to Instagram. If you click on Instagram, it actually is going to allow you to connect your Instagram, which is very easy to do. You just have to sign in. So I'm just going to sign into, I guess, my Instagram. And then my personal Instagram, which is completely unrelated to a restaurant, is going to be appearing right here. So there you go, guys. That's how you would set that up. And then continuing down, you have your location and your hours. I think you know how this is going to be as well. So we can customize the location right here. So we can say like 123 South Street in Philadelphia. There we go. And we can customize the zoom if we want this to be zoomed in or out, depending on like obviously how far out you want your customers to know about you. So I think this is reasonable. So people know it's like Philadelphia, they see where it is, and they're like, oh, I'm kind of near Washington Square West anyway. So then down here you'll see that's where you have your location, your hours, whatever you want, everything on the left as you see here. We can customize what it says. Hours, we can customize that obviously as well. And the layout of this, I think this layout looks fine, but sometimes maybe this would look a little better. I think I like this one better. I think it's cool to have a big interactive map like that. So that's going to be our first home page here. You can see it's super easy to make, and already it's like really everyone knows exactly what they're doing. It looks really good. Great picture in the background. And that was, again, almost zero effort. So we're going to say done on the left side. And unless we want to add anything else on the bottom, which we could do if we want to see down here, maybe our mission on the bottom, we could add that. Customer testimonials. Actually, let's do that. Let's add some testimonials here. So we are going to add testimonials, and our testimonials, you could say, and we can customize the layout of this as well. Let's have more than one testimonial, or maybe we can have like a picture with their testimonial, and let's see if we can choose a picture of a person somewhere. And so that's how you might want to add something like that. So we're going to say done. And actually, I like this if it's a little higher. So let's go to testimonials, slide that above to right here. And of course, the footer branding is something that you can get rid of when you upgrade, but you cannot get rid of it if you are using just the free version, which I admittedly did not upgrade right now. But if we go to footer, that's the last thing that we really want to customize here. So you can change things like the logo if you want that in your footer. My logo sucks, so I'm going to take that out. We can have navigation if you want as an option right there. So the navigation just doesn't mean how to navigate to your restaurant. It means what we see at the top, the options right here. So home and order online. The only two pages, you can add them on the bottom just to make it easier for people to find different pages. You can have subscription if you want, social icons, and external links. So social icons, if you click on that, of course, you can link to some social media. So Instagram, for example, could be instagram.com/Mike O'Brien. Which if you guys want to follow me, that is actually my Instagram. We can go Twitter, Mike O'Brien. And we're going to say done. And then Twitter and Instagram logos just pop up automatically there. And if somebody clicks on that, it'll redirect them to your account. So that's our homepage right there. So what we want to do is say done right here. And let's actually, before we get out of this and start adding some other items, because there's definitely a lot more we need to do here, let's go and look at what it looks like in a mobile view. This is really important because, as you can imagine, so many people who are going to a restaurant are not necessarily looking on their desktop or their laptop. Instead, a lot of times they're walking around the streets of a city or something, and they're on their phone, and they're just looking up local restaurants. So mobile view is going to be very important. If we go to the top, click on the drop down, we can toggle from mobile to desktop view. And it is dynamic, so it should look really good for the most part. You can see our image right there is not the best image because it doesn't translate that well to a mobile view. But as you go down, the featured items looks pretty good. This honestly looks really good. I like that. Instagram works out well. The quote works out well. The map works out well. Like the whole website, I think looks pretty good, but we know that we probably want to edit that. So let's go back to the desktop view, and whenever you're ready, you can of course click publish on the top. And so I'm just going to do that right now to publish to this kind of dummy domain I'm using. This is going to be a Square subdomain. That's what it's using right now. All right. So like I said, the next thing to do is to go to another page, and pages is going to be obviously a really important factor. So we want to have not just our home page, which you see right here, but maybe we also want, actually, you know what? This is really annoying me. Let's go and we got to edit this right here. I can't have that logo in there. That logo, let's just make it really, really tiny or something. It just looks so bad. Can we hide it? Can I hide my logo? Text. Let's make it text. There we go. There we go. That looks a lot better. So it's still linking to home. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to say done. Now we can go and edit some other pages. So when we're looking at the pages here, these are the pages we currently have. So you have a page for each item. So if someone wants to go and check out an item that they're going to order, you can see this is it right here. That's what we made before. We showed the price. We showed like the little description there, and they auto-filled everything. So you can have more than one image per item. I generally recommend that if you can. Just it makes people more inclined to buy it, especially if they're ordering online. And so each item that we have shows up with a page like this. And you can show similar items on the bottom. I think that's a great idea to do that. You have a footer. Again, can't get rid of the branding unless you upgrade, which is another reason not to use the free version. And on the footer, that is something that is going to be consistent across each thing that we do. So you saw that before. On the other page, we customized the social media icons. They're going to be here as well. And so your footer, if you change it here, will change on all of the other pages. So let's leave this right here. I think this looks really good. We're going to say done. And so as far as other pages go, if we click down, you'll see that we have one for each item on the menu so far. We can add more menu items that are not featured items, just regular menu items. And of course, we have the order online page. We have our Instagram. We have home. So if we go to Instagram, this page is going to just show you this right here. I don't really care about that right now. So let's actually get rid of that page. If we want to get rid of the Instagram page here, click on three dots and then say delete page. It doesn't delete the integration. It's still going to be on our home page, but I just don't want my entire Instagram feed as a separate page on the whole website. It doesn't really make sense to do that for me. So that's why maybe I'll get rid of that. Then we can go to add another page, but first let's check out order online. This page, I mean, you guys already know how to edit everything. Just click on the left and start customizing. But maybe you want the announcement banner on or off. So the announcement banner could say something like there's a happy hour or something. So we could just say, and maybe we want to add more text than that, but you get the idea. That's how we can do that. We're going to say done. And the other items here are very, very simple. The item list, of course, is going to be all the whole menu, basically. If they're going to order online, these are the items that they can order online. Of course, searchable as well if you want that, but you could turn search off. Sometimes search causes more problems than it fixes, so I generally leave search off. But other than that, you can see that it's pretty easy to do this. If you have more than one location, like you can customize that as well. But let's say done and go check out the new page I wanted to add. So let's say add a page, and this is going to be, look at that. I was actually going to say an about us page, but they already have that template ready. Of course, you can add a blank page. Making these, they're all going to be the same. Like you're going to have the same editing tools, but if you already choose one that makes sense, that is similar to what you're trying to make, it's just going to make things so easy. So choosing an about us page, you'll see that they really only gave us this right here. And we're going to add a couple things below it. So let's add some more sections below that. Maybe this is where we want an Instagram feed, which is already linked. Maybe, so let's add that. Maybe again, we want to add some more things in the bottom. So let's have text and image right here. Say done. And we're going to add maybe our mission as well. So we're going to say done, add our mission, and say done. And we can customize all of these, of course, but if we just check out the about us one, this is really no different than what we see down here with the picture, the text and image. So you can customize this in the same way. It's really not going to be a big deal with how you do stuff, but if we want to add like a picture for like who we are, it's way too zoomed in, so we can go and edit the photo and of course zoom it out or change the size. So we could I guess we can only zoom in, whatever, but choose a different image then and it would look better. So you guys get the idea of how we can add an about us page, and it will be added to our navigation on the top because I did select that option. If you don't want it added to that, you can say done right here, and we can click on the settings for this page. So view page settings right here, it'll give you a lot of things. You could do this with any of the other pages as well. So I guess now is a good time to kind of lead into this. We can name the page. So we can say, instead of about, maybe it is our story. And then this could be about, you're going to have your URL, your slug right here. And this is important because this is going to be relevant when people are clicking on the link or when Google is crawling your website. You want it to make sense and have a reasonable little thing right there. We can also redirect this other URLs to this page. Not going to do that right now. SEO, like I said, search engine optimization. So you want to have something like this. It's going to say about, or we're going to say our story. You want it to be slightly longer and a little more interesting. So our story as a local restaurant in Philly. And then obviously below that, you don't want empty space. So we're just going to paste in some dummy text. It's way too long, so we're going to delete some of that. Usually it's like 150 characters is what you want. So let's go until we're at 0. There we go. And that's going to show up right down there. And you want that, again, to be very captivating. And you want this page probably to be visible to search engines. Leave it on visible to search engines. That's good. And we're going to say save. And I didn't actually touch on the social one. So let's go back to settings. Social is going to be if this page is shared somewhere on like Facebook or something, you might want like a different thing to show up right there. So maybe for sharing on social media, we want this picture right here. And that's what it's going to look like. So if somebody shares it, it's going to be our story. There we go. And we are going to say save. And so there we go. So that's how you can set up the settings for each page. So it's going to rank higher on Google and be more shareable on social media, which is going to be very important, especially for a restaurant. And that's pretty much what we want to do right there. We can add other pages. Like I said, if your restaurant, maybe, for example, you want to have a contact us page or something about like gift cards, you can add all of those right here. Or, of course, a blank page as well and just name it whatever you want. But that's pretty much everything you'll be doing when you're actually customizing the website itself. So let's actually go back to exit the editor. So if we click on the X right here, let's first publish again. So publishing our website, keeping it up to date. Assuming you don't have a lot of traffic, that's not a concern, just to publish whenever you're doing stuff. But once you start having traffic, be careful before you publish, obviously. So we're going to click on X right there. And getting out of the editor, back to our main dashboard here, you'll see that we now have our website all ready to go. But there are a couple things we also want to touch on. So let's go to general settings here under website. And in general settings, this is where you can change a lot of stuff. So like the URL or the domain, as I said earlier, we can go and change the site title. Right now it's just Santrel Restaurant, which obviously makes sense. It's what I chose. And then right here, you might want an icon. You have to upgrade to get this, but that is essentially going to be like if I open a new tab, you'll see on the top, it shows sometimes a little icon there. So let's go to like Amazon.com and you'll see that little Amazon icon right there. That is the icon that you'll be adding. So if you want an icon on the top that is not just a square logo, this is a square logo right here, then you should be adding this. It's like 8 pixels by 8 pixels or 30 by 30. It's really tiny. So you want a very small image. I usually make that with Canva, for example. If you want your website to not be visible to the public, you can go and password protect it so you can just work internally with your team. And that's pretty much everything in general settings. SEO and social media, I already touched on that a little bit, so you guys know what you're doing right here, and then you can actually customize how that looks. Integrations would be if you want to have something like a Facebook pixel, not really that relevant for a restaurant website necessarily, unless you're really advertising with Facebook ads. Maybe you are, and if you are, maybe a Facebook pixel would make sense. But I think Google Analytics is probably a more relevant thing for a lot of people. So that's a different video, but it's really easy. Just know that if you ever have to put an API key in here, it's going to be right there. We also have other things down here. I'm not really going to touch on all of those. When we get to items, however, this is where we want to customize what our menu actually looks like. So our menu right now, we can go and select the items. We're going to say select all and we'll just select all and say done. So these are all the items that we already made. These are items in our library, our menu, and they're all prepared food and beverage. Now, if we want to add more things to our menu, we can go and create a new item. And this is going to be a little bit more intimidating, but just keep in mind that it's only because you have so many different ways to sell things on Square. So if you had like merchandise and you wanted to sell that, you could just do that with a physical item. Digital item could be like a recipe, a PDF or something. But realistically, we're just looking for food. So we can go down here and say prepared food and beverage. And this one could just be a sandwich. And you can change the price here. This could be like $16. I usually don't recommend having sale prices for food. Sometimes that's kind of weird. Like, why is it discounted? Unless it's Sushi Sunday. I mean, I love Sushi Sunday. We can have our description right there. We can have this one visible as well, or hidden if you want to have it hidden or unavailable. That means that is this going to show up on your website? I mean, obviously, if you're making it, for most people, it's going to be visible. And then we want this to be pickup or local and delivery. And we can say that when somebody's going to pick it up, usually they need 30 minutes before they can come get it. And we're going to say, sure, tax exempt. Obviously, check with your local laws on that one. And then down here, we can say that if we want to have like a stock keeping unit, it doesn't really make sense for food items. But if you wanted to, that's where that would be right there. Nutritional information, we could say it's like 190 calories. And we don't really want to add anything else. But down here, you see you have tons and tons of options. You can have modifiers. So if we're making a sandwich, you can add something like if you want to add a modifier for, if it's a cake, for example, you can have a modifier that's going to be like, what do you want written on the cake? That would be a great example of that. And then, of course, down here, we have our SEO as well. So that's something I already showed you. Oh, it looks like I accidentally skipped past options and pricing. So options and pricing would be like if you want to have, as it says right there, different sizes. So let's have size as one of them. So let's say size of the sandwich. And we're going to say that. And we can have this as a drop-down menu. Let's say next. And we have to add the options. We can have a half sandwich, or we can have a whole sandwich. And that way, when people are choosing it, they can say like, oh, do we want to order a half sandwich or a whole sandwich? And we're going to save the option set. Sure. We're going to call this sandwich size, save that option set. And then for here, maybe a half sandwich is going to be $8, and then a whole is going to be $16. And here, again, you don't really care about the SKU or the weight unless you're actually shipping it and you have like inventory. And likewise, sale is probably not super relevant for this. But maybe for this, if you want to say like a half sandwich, you could say 16 here and then make it actually $8 as like a sale. But I don't know. I generally just avoid sale for restaurant stuff. And then that's how you'll get this item done. So we can actually add an image on the top. And so for an image, let's just choose another sandwich. Doesn't really matter. That's actually a cheesesteak. Add that as our primary image, and you can add other images as well. We're going to say save that, and suddenly we have another item being just plain sandwich, right? Now, what I recommend doing is those other ones that we made that were featured, go back in and edit those here just by clicking on them And you might want to add something like calories down here, make that like 80 calories or something. And again, you could add some other options or modifiers down here. So if we want to add like some modifiers, it doesn't really make sense. So options is really what we want to do. We could say salad dressing. We could say salad dressing could be right here, drop down as well. And we could say next. Oh, I keep forgetting to do that. So we could say Caesar salad dressing. We could say house dressing, maybe ranch or ranch. Sure, just let's go with those three right now, and then salad dressing, save option set, and we're gonna say done. So now they have that option right there. It's gonna be the same price for all of them. So if we just click on price, then we can just edit all of these at once. So if we select all of them and then we type in 15, it'll edit all of those at once. That's good to know in case you have like a lot of things going on. If you have more options than just like 2 or 3, it saves you a lot of time by selecting all of them and then just typing it. It edits all of them at once. So we can add other pictures if we want. We're going to save it just like that. And so that's how you create new items. Just to reiterate, if you click on create new item, you want to make sure that it is a food and beverage, and then just go down and type in all the information. It's really fairly simple to do for these items. So we're going to say, yes, we want to cancel that. And then there's a few other really important things you want to know with a restaurant. One of them is going to be reviews. Obviously, it's going to be very important. But you're just going to see these right here. I'm not really going to go in and touch on that right now, especially because I didn't upgrade. But gift cards is another thing. So you might want to enable gift cards so that people can buy a gift card for somebody else, maybe for their birthday, or maybe you could just send a gift card to somebody. You could get your own gift card and send it to them for their birthday. For example, if they're signed up on your email list, you could send them like a coupon code, as you see right here is another option where you could say like, hey, here's a free meal on us. And usually people on their birthday, they don't want to eat alone. So they'll bring some more friends and they'll probably spend some more money. It's something I've seen a lot of other restaurants do. So then going down, we have orders, and orders is something that, UPS doesn't really make sense to show right there, but you'll see orders right here if you're trying to see the order status. Then we can go down to marketing. This is going to be like email marketing, stuff like that. Then we can go to insights, as you see here. We don't have anyone visiting yet. So that's just about everything I want to show you in this video. If we go down to settings, these are the last few things. So we have a couple options here. So general settings, as I talked about before, is just going to be like some basic information. So like your tracking, your units, stuff like that. Item settings is another thing. If there's going to be some kind of sale indicator, we don't have any sales, so that's not relevant right now. Checkout page is going to, do you want to accept online orders? You probably do. That's the whole point of this video. And, how do you want to set up orders? So you can have people allowing PayPal, or you can just do it through Square. And as you can see right here, we have 30 cents per transaction plus 2.9%. It depends on what plan you chose. So because we're on the free plan, there is a pretty hefty fee there. I mean, it makes sense as how they're making money and paying for the hosting here. But then we go down, we have email setup, abandoned carts, shipping, pickup and delivery. That's really the next one. Let's get into pickup and delivery. So pickup and delivery here, this is going to, just do some basic stuff. If you have other locations, or if you want to edit the location or give some more instructions for people to know, maybe like go in the back door for this stuff or the side door, or just like call us when you get here and we'll bring it out to your car. Like you have some options right here when you want to like edit your location, or maybe like somehow add some little things going on. So you want to add some extra information if you have that. And other than that, that's pretty much all we really want to talk about. So I think that's everything you'll really need to know to really edit your website and to get your website going. So we can go and check out our current website just by going to website, go to edit website, or actually we can click on that right there. Sorry about that. So guys, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to show you. That's how you'll be making a website for your restaurant where people can order online and either come and pick it up, or you can deliver to them, or they can order and have it shipped if you really are doing that. But that's what you'll need to know, guys. So if you enjoyed this video, consider going down and liking and subscribing. And of course, the last thing to do once your website is published is to go and check that out again. So if we click on the link, you'll see this is our website. And I think that's a pretty good looking website for almost no effort at all. Of course, customizing the menu items and the pictures, you can really make an excellent looking website that looks very professional for very little effort and very little money as well. So guys, good luck with your restaurant website. I really wish you the best, and I hope you guys found this video helpful. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.